Right, our next pocket in our lining will be what we call a double welted zip pocket. This is the most classic pocket. It can be used for garments, it can be used for inside pockets as well. So we're coming down around about 5.5 to 6 inches. It can be just 6 inches, I mean, it doesn't matter. Find our halfway point, and then we're going to measure it out from that halfway point. There's our halfway point there. 4.5 inches either side to make a 9-inch pocket opening. I'm using pen so you can see. Normally I'd just be using chalk. Place some pins through to find and make a hole. Little hole to mark with a chalk pen or chalk pencil. I could have drawn this on the right side. I just like to show you the method of transferring. Okay, so we've got interfacing behind this pocket. I've got a strip of interfacing, nothing too heavy, just a little bit of reinforcement. Right, there we have it. These chalk pencils erase with the eraser on the end of the pencil. Now we have a 2-inch strip. And we want to put some interfacing onto it, just on the middle of it. Doesn't have to go all the way, it needs to be at least 9 inches though. Hopefully. Interfacing goes on better with dry heat than with steam. Okay, there we have it. Do a light crease. I just do a fingernail crease generally, and then I fold to the center. And the other side fold to the center. And so those two raw edges will meet up in the middle of the strip. So the 2-inch strip turns into a 1-inch strip once those edges are folded in. You want to try and make sure this is as even as possible. Okay, so there's our 1-inch strip. So our edges are folded into the middle. Nice and flat. Now we want to measure our end points, our 9 inches. There's one. It's on our interfacing when we're quite safe. Okay, so those are where our stitching will start and stop. Now for the right side, we place the side that has not got the join or not got the raw edges on it. We want to place that down, so that's right sides down. And with a bit of washi tape, let's just attach that. And then we're going to sew our pocket. Well, we're going to sew a elongated square, and we're going to sew as that. See, that's 1 inch wide. We're going to be sewing a 1/4 of an inch in on each side. So you might want to use your 1/4 inch foot, or set your machine to a 1/4 inch stitch using your settings on your machine. I'm using a 1/4 inch foot. Right, so I'm going to use the edge, or the raw edge is my guide. Oh no, it's not. No, the outside edge is my guide. My outside edge I'm looking at, and there's my guide. So the right hand side of the foot I'm staring at, and it's going to need to be even. Just looking at that, I need 7 millimeters in my head. So that's in my head, I need 7 millimeters. So I'm just coming back. It's a 1/4 of an inch plus 1 click of the needle. So it's just, you want to make this outside edge slightly, just ever so slightly more than 1/4 of an inch, because by the time you've cut it and turned the seam, it will be filled up by the little welt. Now you see I didn't reverse there, I actually turned my work in and stitched over top of those stitches, and that stops any bulk from interfering when turning and pressing and turning out. So rather than reversing, just stitch over top of stitches for about an inch, or about 2.5 centimeters. Again, like with the other pocket, we're going to cut up to the end and stop at about 1 centimeter or 3/8 short of their end, and then clip into those corners. Again, cut up that edge which those edges are meeting, stop it about 1 centimeter, 3/8 away from the corner, and clip into those corners. Make sure you clip right into, you'll see later I didn't actually clip quite far enough with one of them. If you don't clip far enough, you'll get a little wrinkle in the corner. We don't want that. Here's me doing the pinch and rip, just to get those corners precise. But if you get a little crow's foot in the corner, it means that you have not clipped close enough to the corner. Right, I give this a very light press from the right side, from the wrong side. You'll see those are overlapping. Don't want those overlapping, they need to be meeting. So if they're not overlapping, it means that I have not clipped quite close enough. So you need to go and analyze those corners to make sure that I've clipped close enough. That one there seems to be working okay. There we go. So meeting edge to edge was what we want. Okay, that one there's okay, but the other end needs to be slightly clipped. So what we're going to do is we actually go to the machine and we stitch over that end mark to keep those welts sitting in the right direction. Now this one here looks like it's slightly uneven. I haven't clipped far enough, so let's turn that through. Yeah, it's just like it's a hare's whisker. I'm just going to re-clip into there. And now when I add a little bit of steam and manipulate it from there, it should be right. That's looking a bit. See there was a little crow's foot in that corner? That's always an indicator that you haven't quite clipped far enough. So now that's looking much better. Right. Let's go to the machine. Really close up here because I want you to see what I'm doing. Pull that edge back. I'm going to be stitching over the original stitching line just to keep those welted edges sitting flat. There's all sorts of discussions about this, whether you actually curve that seam or it's a straight seam, or you curve out or curve in. Straight seam on top of stitching. It gives you the best square finish. The rest you can do, you can manipulate with steam. But you don't have to, because there was great discussion when I was growing up in the tailoring trade about, excuse my hand again, so I'm stitching straight on top of that stitching. That's already, there's a mark there. I'm not curving it at all. There was great discussion about this, which is sort of slightly ridiculous. And there, you don't curve in or curve out. You want it to be straight across those. They're called lugs. That triangle bit is called a lug. There we are. You can see that they're meeting side by side, and it's called a lug. Looks like a bonbon, so trim the ends of your bonbon. Just leave yourself 3/4 of an inch. Right, now we're ready to put it. You can actually leave the pocket like this. You can actually attach a pocket bag there now, but we're going to actually just add a zip. Okay, we're just going to add a zip. And we're going to be stitching on top of that stitching line, and then we're going to stitch around the outside edge of that to make a frame, and then attaching the pocket bag like we did with the other one. Okay, so that zip's the perfect size for these welts. I'm going to stitch it as close as I possibly can to that original row of stitching. That original row of stitching has 3 lots of stitching through it. It has the zip attached to it, and then it has the pocket bag attached to it. Right, that's the top edge of the zip. Before you all scream, yes, I definitely know that the zip runner, I haven't dealt with the zip pull yet, but when I come down to the end, I will push that up. It's just easy to stitch as long as you possibly can without the zip pull being an interference. Okay, so let's pull that up. Just tuck that in and then pull it away from the zip up past the foot. I'll turn it round, and you can see that I'm going to come in between my fabric, grab the puller. Okay, there we go. You have to take the tape off by all means, grab the puller, and there we have it again. Just keep the edge of that zip tape even like we've been sewing, and everything will be joyous when we finish. Haven't got far to go, we've got a couple of inches of stitching. Right, so there we have the zip in behind our double welts. Where did that come from? Let's just snip that out of place. There we go. And we then want to stitch around, or edge stitch around, the opening of the welts. I'm using my 1/4 inch foot to do this. You can change back to your normal utilitarian foot. Just, it wants to be on the very, very edge, and I find that the small opening of the 1/4 inch foot is perfect for this. But not everyone likes stitching with their 1/4 inch foot, and then some people have a blade on the side of their 1/4 inch foot, which deters this from happening. I used to have one of those on one of my machines. I actually ended up buying another foot and I took the blade off so I could use the foot purposely for doing edge stitching. I'm a firm believer that a metre of calico or casement or quilter's muslin, some zips in a few hours teach you to use such skills you can actually practice this. Have a go at doing it before doing it into a bag, because seriously, it's not hard to achieve. Look at that. Fantastico. That will look great on the outside of a bag as well. Let's just trim those back to leaving about 3/4 of an inch or an inch at each end of that zip tape. And now we want to apply our pocket bag to the back of this zip as well. So very quickly we grab our pocket bag, it's right side down, and we start with the lower edge of the jet and the zip. Pinch it, turn it through, and sew on as close to that folded stitching as possible. We are going to have to manipulate our zip up and down again though. We don't forget that we are going to have to do that. I've put my J foot or my utilitarian foot back on because it needs to run on top of the zip to do this. That's fine. Some people use a zip foot. And again, it's a very narrow little seam. Do stitch it twice if you feel like to. You can step the pocket bag out a little bit if you wish. If you think it's very frail, it will not come apart. Pull our zip up and then carry on sewing. There's our first one. Flick up to the top, pinch and start sewing. Just remember we've got to remove our zip. Feel where that zip is. We have to move that zip up past the foot once we get to it. I'm pulling that down, I think, a little bit first because I want it to be able to sit way past the foot. I don't have enough stitching done first. Lift that up, pull your zip up, make your edges even and stitch to the end. I did stitch the seam twice because it was quite a narrow seam. And here we have it, so as our pocket bag is sitting nice and flat. So when you undo the zip, you'll see a pocket. And behind the zip, we're just going to flick that back and then just stitch around the edge of the pocket bag. Again, curved corners make for a longer lasting pocket. Money and keys and dust and dirt and grime fall to the centre of the pocket rather than sitting in the corners. So here we have it. Undone. You can see in there, zip pullers on the left of a closed pocket.